Right, back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. IFP KwaZulu-Natal Chair Thami Ntuli believes 94-year-old founder Mangosuthu Buthelezi's face could boost the party's electoral fortunes. The comments come ahead of next year's national and provincial polls. Ntuli joins us now for more on this. Mpamba, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. It would seem the party with now a new leader would want to, I suppose, put a lot of emphasis on that leadership as opposed to being overly reliant on a leader who is, in the twilight of his years. His legacy is big, however, does not necessarily have the same energy that he would have had previously. Does the IFP see no value at all in leader Hlabisa?
Good evening, Mfumbathi, to yourself and your listeners. In fact, the leader of the IFP, the president of the IFP, has value to us as the IFP. The reaction one had in an interview with one of the journalists was that the founder of the IFP and the IFP President Emeritus, in fact, is the source of our strength. Hence, the performance of the IFP, if you recall that in 2011, we only had 2 municipalities, and then in 2016, 11, and in 2021, 28, though others, they are coming through coalitions. And even the recent by-elections here in KwaZulu-Natal, you see the resurgence of the IFP. And when we interact with the voters, immediately we mention the name of the IFP founder, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. It resonates very well. Hence, my reaction was that it has been working very well for us as the IFP, because people still recall the work that he has done as a freedom fighter in his own right, as a developer, while he was leading the government of KwaZulu-Natal. Hence, in KwaZulu-Natal, we still have tangible things that are there because of his leadership, and also his role as a protector and a fighter for the traditional leadership. Yeah. That is what actually was saying. The current president has value, and we value him a lot with the entire leadership of the IFP. Yeah. However, our context was based on our discussion in what has been happening here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
So when you say that, when we mention his name, people were more open to hearing us, does that speak to the fact that you have not maybe effectively communicated the role of the new leadership and the work that they have achieved in the organization, so much so that people that you speak to are still caught up in what the party's former leadership used to do?
You know, Mfumbathi, the work Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi has actually done for KwaZulu-Natal cannot be compared to the work done by any government, even the current government, which is governing KwaZulu-Natal. His work cannot be compared. I think you are all aware that when you talk about the College of Education, and let me say education, mentioning the shop colleges of education and schools and even universities, even the one remarkable one, the Mangosuthu University of Technology, where his friends wanted to do something for him for his contribution in the nation. And he said, what you'll do for me is what you do for the people by building a university at a township at Umlazi. So, you know, those things are there. We talk about Itala Bank, of which he is the only black person who actually introduced a bank that we have as big as Itala Bank, meant to assist the emerging business people. That is the work people are talking about. People are talking about the infrastructure that they see. That is why he resonates very well. Even our president, our current president, in his interaction with the people, will not in fact stop to mention the work that has been done, the legacy, because that is the source of our strength, because people view IFP because of what the track record, the good track record of good governance or clean governance. I think that is what we actually agree as the IFP in totality, including our president and NEC provincial structures, that really his work, his track record, good track record, is still a source of actually our strength as a party in doing very well when we are faced with the elections or by-elections.
So are the structures of the view that, for example, in 2024, if the face of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is not part of the campaign, that one would either divide the party itself and the structures would be in disagreement around that, but two, it would diminish your support base in KwaZulu-Natal?
Well, there is no discussion, in fact, amongst the structures. I think such discussion, they take place at the right time. We will then understand after a particular time when the party says structures must begin then to have a view on the way forward. But currently, even during the by-elections, that is the face we use, and that is our draw card. As I've mentioned, that even our president, in his journey as the president of the party, he made a mention of the founder, a good track record a lot, which in fact makes people to recall really what I've referred to as the legacy, which was important for them to change their life, which I categorized into three categories, wherein I mentioned his role as a freedom fighter in his own right, confirmed by Dr. Nelson Mandela in his book, Long Walk to Freedom, Chapter 103, and also confirmed by Dr. Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, when he delivered his the lecture of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi in Durban, and even the message we received from Dr. Nelson Mandela, because he was not quite clear about who Buthelezi was, and Dr. Nelson Mandela said, "Oh, you talk about Buthelezi, he's a freedom fighter in his own right. There are many strategies you can use to achieve objective. Go and tell him or give that message to him." Was even confirmed by Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, of the former president of Zambia, the late former president of Zambia. When he met with him in 2019, I was also present, where he actually said, "I thank you for taking the mission we actually gave you at a time which put you at risk and your family. But it did not only result to the freedom in South Africa, also in Africa, we benefited from your actions." You know, that is the first category. And the second category, recall that the IFP wasn't going to enter the elections in 1994. And at the center of that decision was the issue of the role of Amakhosi in the Constitution and the role of the King of AmaZulu in the Constitution. Hence, I'm saying he in fact has that second phase of fighting for the traditional leadership, for the kingship, for the monarch. Even currently, we have the current king because of his support and, in fact, efforts. And lastly, the issue of what I've mentioned, which I'm not going to go back to the issue of the infrastructural investment in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which even today is making some of the people to benefit. People are still beneficiaries of what he invested in this province. And we are saying then that in fact resonates very well with the people when you go to the ground. They will even say, you know, as leaders, current leaders of the IFP, you ought to be like him, because we value the IFP because of his good track record.
Yeah. Is it the party itself that is not allowing Umntwana to properly retire and get away from the face of politics, or does he still feel that he's got the energy to do so?
You know what, Mfumbathi, he is no longer the president. He is playing the role which the conference requested him to play, to give guidance and support to the current president and the entire leadership of the party, and even ourselves at the provincial level and even other structures. It's important that, you know, when you have the kind of the wisdom that we have within the organization, you make use of it. Very few historical black parties, political parties, still have founders who understand actually the rationale behind the formation of a political party. And even the leader of the caliber, even in South Africa, you understand how disparate we are as South Africans. And for the IFP to have a leader of his magnitude who worked with Dr. Nelson Mandela, who interacted with Ubabu Oliver Tambo, you know, all sorts of such leaders, even the leader of the Black Conscious movement, you know, to have a leader of his magnitude, in fact, is a strength to even to the current president and to the entire party going forward.
Themba, we appreciate you and thank you very much for coming on, outlining and bringing some clarity to these issues. We thank you very much for joining us tonight. That's Thami Ntuli. He's the chairperson of Inkatha Freedom Party in KwaZulu-Natal.